we are on Earth, and the Earth is just one planet in the galaxy. You can compare that to an ant on the patio in this backyard. The ant doesn't know that there's more than the patio. He just keeps walking. He doesn't know he's just part of lots of worlds. And the human race is sort of like that. After they discovered what's up there, they know they're only a little part of this huge galaxy. I think there probably are many different kinds of cells and organisms. Some may not be visible, some may not have been discovered, and some may be on places we can't go. And they all might have the same perspective as we do on this, that there might be others.
Yeah. Gotta find yourself in this world. Do that, you'll understand yourself better, and you'll understand this world better. Every day is another journey.
Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform to become your spiritual server. This is your astrological forecast for the week of March the 12th through the 18th of 2018. Woo! You made it to another week, guys, and what an amazing, profound shift we are all going to go through this week. And that shift, of course, begins today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of go day by day and let you know some of the main highlights that are happening this week. And of course, with that new moon that's occurring on Saturday, and more than likely sometime this week, either tomorrow or Wednesday, you can expect to see a new moon video as well. So, what is going on this week in the cosmos, in the stars, right? Well, the main thing that we have kicking off is actually on the day of today. We have the planet of action, Mars, conjuncting the galactic center point. Now, what is the galactic center point? Supposedly, we are on this spinning ball in this solar system, in this galaxy of billions upon billions of stars. And in the center of that galaxy is a supermassive star, black hole, that we are all swirling around, and this is known as the galactic center. The galactic center is a fixed point in astrology. It moves once every 72 years. So for most of our lives, it stays in one spot. Right now it's at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, okay? And that's where Mars is today. This is really profound. The galactic center point actually moved 1 degree on, yes, you guessed it right, 2012. That's when the galactic center moved from 26 degrees to 27 degrees. Really, considering the fact that it's such a big spot, it kind of spans both degrees. But that was the 2012 shift that we felt. Was that actually the shift of the galactic center point? Like I said, it is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius, and right now that is where Mars is. This is huge. This is massive. I want you to think of the galactic center as pretty much like destiny. Now, I know I talked about in past videos talking about like the North Node representing destiny. The galactic center point is like the deal that you made with God. It's the deal that you made with Source, essentially. And right now, with it being in Sagittarius, it is expanding upon our belief structure. And with it being at 27 degrees, 2 meaning I feel, 7 meaning I sense, coming together netting as a 9, I act, I am. And we have the planet of I act, I am, Mars, conjuncting it at this degree, means that we are opening up this major doorway to our destiny. Okay, it is a beautiful shift. I read somewhere on the internet about someone who was talking about the galactic center point, and in their blog, they were saying that if you pay attention, that around the time of the year where we come near, where the sun reaches the galactic center point, we begin to receive these really beautiful and sacred downloads of what to do for the next year. I believe that we receive these sacred downloads whenever a planet comes in conjunction with this point. And right now, with Mars being here, what is asking us to do is to really feel into ourselves, to feel into our heart space, and to sense the guidance from the universe and God that is being transmitted, and to act upon this. Act upon this from a place of radical trust. In fact, that's really the theme I want to get across in this video for this week, is radical trust. Because trust is something that's very important in these times, because uncertainty is inevitable. There is uncertainty, right? All that exists is this present moment, and when we look in the future, we can project what we like to think might happen in the future, but really it's uncertain. And the mind doesn't like uncertainty. The ego doesn't like uncertainty. It wants to know all the facts. It wants to know how things are going to be. And it's going to make actions based off of that, based off of what it thinks it knows, what it believes to be true, what it believes it thinks it needs to be true, right? But with Mars conjuncting this spot right now, on this day, beginning this week, we are entering this new realm of action that's going to be in line with our deeper soul purpose. How is that to start off the week, right? We also have the moon entering Aquarius later on this evening, which means that from an emotional standpoint, we're going to be more concerned about the collective and not ourselves. So it's kind of interesting how we have the planet of ego and of action conjuncting this spot. So it's like we are all getting this divine download today from Source and God about what our destiny is and how to take an action upon this destiny. And with the moon shifting into Aquarius, it's going to be asking us that while our destiny, while we all have a personal journey, we all have a personal story, that we need to be reminded and have compassion for the collective, because we don't want to get too caught up in our ego and what we want to do for us. We have to consider everybody that is along for the ride. Because if you want to think about it, the Earth is like a spaceship, and we are all co-piloting this. We are all on this together, right? Not really co-pilots. We're just all on this ship together, right? So we have to consider all of our shipmates. That's what the moon moving into Aquarius is. On Tuesday, we have Venus in Aries squaring Saturn in Capricorn at 8 degrees. This is huge. Saturn is in its home sign of Capricorn. This is where it likes to be. And many of us are probably feeling in some way that there's an air of seriousness. But since we do have still some of these energies in Pisces, it tones down the seriousness a bit. But what Saturn is asking us right now is like, okay, so you want to attract this into your life. With Venus being in Aries, Venus is the planet of attraction, and what people like to call it the planet of love, but really it's about what we attract and what we're open to receiving. With it being in Aries, we're really fired up. We want to experience new things. This is a time where relationships can really spark off, but a lot of times relationships that begin when the Venus is in Aries, they have a tendency to fizzle out, right? Because there's that initial spark, that initial fiery passion and excitement and adventure, but whether it can be sustained is another story. So that's really what Saturn and Capricorn is going to be asking us. It's because, yeah, we can feel this fiery passion to get these projects off the ground, to make new relationships, to make new connections, but Saturn and Capricorn is going to be asking us, is it going to work out? Is it within order? Is this just, flashing lights and pizzazz and good music? Or is this actually something that's going to be sustainable for the long run? Because that's what this is asking us. It's like you want to be able to establish projects and relationships and attract things into your life at this point that are going to be here for the long run. That's really what we're all wanting. That's why we said Mars is conjuncting, the galactic center point. So it's like in many ways, our egos are going through this major cleanse this week because we're having to be recalibrated back to our destiny, back to our soul's purpose. So when Venus squares Saturn at this point, it's like, okay, I want this, this is attractive, this is attractive. We're looking through the catalog of things that we're attracted to. But then Saturn and Capricorn's talking to us and is like, well, are you sure that's going to work? Are you sure that's going to work? Are you sure that's going to work? It might just be flashy, it might just be shiny, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's valuable. It doesn't mean it's necessarily as valuable to our soul as we like to perhaps think it is. Now, that's Tuesday, right? We also have the Sun in Pisces training over to Jupiter, which has just gone retrograde in Scorpio at 23 degrees. This is pretty profound as well because this is going to be one of the first major aspects that the Sun makes to Jupiter retrograde. It's going to also try and once it hits Cancer, but then it's going to be later towards the end of its retrograde. But this is pretty profound here because it's like with Jupiter having gone retrograde, the planet of expansion in the sign that is dark and mysterious and likes the occult, but also likes to dig up and like bring out all the treasures. Because Scorpio loves to get to the bottom of things. You can't really bullshit a Scorpio. So when Jupiter is in this space and as it was going through it, it was expanding. And we all were being exposed to a lot of our deep fears, a lot of these deep, dark crevices of our soul. But interesting enough, there are a lot of buried treasure in these spots. So when Jupiter decided to go retrograde, it's like if you want to think of it almost like a map, right? Like in some like those, video games and like RPGs, you know how like as you explore different parts of the map, it begins to become more illuminated. Well, Jupiter was able to illuminate only so much of Scorpio before it went retrograde. And now it's like, okay, now that I have shown you this much of your boundaries, because in many ways that's what Scorpio represents, is our boundaries. Now that I've shown you so much of your emotional boundaries, and all these treasures here, now we have to kind of go around to these different spots that have been illuminated or have expanded, our sight into our scorpionic energy. And now with the Sun trining this spot, it's like our spiritual rebirth that we all have when the Sun enters into Pisces and how we're recalibrated back to spirit. Now it's looking over at Jupiter retrograde and it's making the first I'm trying to find the right word. Sorry, guys, I'm a little excited. It's making the first call, an observation on what we have uncovered. It's making the first, oh, that's interesting. That's actually, I wasn't expecting to have that treasure there. That's really what this is about. This is like, oh, wow, I didn't know I had this hidden away, locked back here under this rug, under this, like, that's kind of what's happening here. The Sun in Pisces is like, go with the flow, and whatever you uncover, just allow it to be. As it makes this trine over to Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio, it really has a lot to do with our mind, because Jupiter does represent the high mind, right? So a lot of times we create these dark spaces within our mind. And what Jupiter is doing is that it's illuminating these areas so we may heal them. This is going to bring about great healing. If we really take time this week to really center ourselves, use our breath, and connect with our spirit and our soul, we can actually reach great mental healing this week with Pisces trining Jupiter retrograde. Okay. On Wednesday, probably one of the more difficult aspects of this week, we have Mars in Sagittarius making a square over to Chiron in Pisces at 28 degrees. This is a huge shift as well. Chiron being the wounded healer, and it's in Pisces, so it's healing the way that we connect to the divine. Mars in Sagittarius wants to go on the adventure. Mars in Sagittarius is literally like one of the main characters in a lot of those animes we watch or cartoons, where it's literally like this character who suddenly is whisked into this adventure and they suddenly have all of these cool powers, and every single day is a new adventure, and every single day they're doing something grand and big. And that's what Mars wants to do. But before we can really do that, we had to receive those divine downloads from the Galactic center point, and we have to go through the square at Chiron, because if we don't do that, we're going to bring up some of these wounds, and we're going to re-hurt ourselves, which is why this square is happening. It's not the easiest, but if we don't take the right amount of, if you don't take the right kind of action or even inaction, if it's not in line with our spirit, if it's not in line with our soul's purpose, then we can end up re-wounding ourselves. And we will manifest it because it's at 28 degrees, 2 being I feel, and 8 being, I decide. Coming together as a 10, I manifest. So we will literally manifest this re-wounding, but we can manifest a great healing if we take the time for ourselves to go along with the flow, to trust, to have radical trust in the universe, right? We will actually have great healing. And Wednesday is really kind of like the medicine is actually being, pushed through our body. That's when, I don't want to say the needle's being injected, but that's kind of when the needle's being injected and we're actually receiving the medicine is actually going to be on Wednesday. So Thursday is probably going to be one of the most subtle days of the week, but also one of the most profound, one of the most beautiful. And that is because we have the moon, which will be entering into Pisces, and we have the sun moving to Grandmaster step 25 degrees of Pisces. Why is it a Grandmaster step? Because Pisces rules step 7, and 2 plus 5 equals 7. So you have I feel and I think netting to the 7. So it's a natural step for Pisces. It's going to be a very beautiful step. Also because, like I said, the moon is shifting into Pisces that day. Whenever the moon shifts into Pisces, you are more connected to your spirit and to your soul. It's more of a deeper connection. Not only that, but you're highly sensitive to the divine. You're highly sensitive to the spiritual realm. Dreams during this time probably get more intense. They probably get more vivid, very colorful. You're more likely to be visited by different spirits or loved ones who have passed. It's a very, very profound and spiritual time. And like I said, with the moon being in Pisces, you're going to be more in tune to it. You're going to be more in tune to other people's spirits and to their subtleties and their subtle energy, because this physical realm, it seems apparent and just like straightforward, but the spiritual realm is a little more subtle. It's psychic. It's not really seen. It's something that has to be felt. So with the moon, the energy of feeling moving into the sign of Pisces, which is this very magical spiritual sign, but also it can be a sign of where we put these barriers on ourselves, when we hold ourselves into this spiritual prison. So if you're not careful, and if you don't accept the healing that comes mainly on Wednesday with with Mars squaring Chiron, we're not going to react to the moon going into Thursday very well. We might have this initial reaction to where we're hypersensitive to the divine and to tapping into everyone's spirit around us, and we're not really going to know what to do. We might kind of wig ourselves out. But really, if we just allow ourselves to be, we can just kind of feel the subtle energies of the day and just really feel the peace of it all, the harmony of it all. Because when the moon moves into Pisces, you're able to connect with people's spirits on a deeper, more profound level. I know this because I have my natal moon in Pisces at 28 degrees, so it's at a very late degree. So it's actually kind of interesting because Chiron on Wednesday is going to be right on top of my natal moon. So I definitely am feeling this. And I'm even a part of me is even not oh, I don't want this medicine. Oh, I don't want, it's not that I don't want it. For me, it's wondering whether or not I'm worthy to be healed, which is one of my personal battles that I'm going through right now. But if you allow yourself to be healed, the healing potential of the week is amazing, profound, and beautiful, and you will come out the other side renewed and it's like the phoenix rising. You rise from the ashes and you're born anew. That's not to say that you're not going to experience these challenges or obstacles after this week, because you most certainly are. Otherwise, how would you evolve? But if you allow yourself this week, you can be healed on a very deep, profound level. The entire collective. The entire collective. It's like we can heal ourselves and then we can begin to heal our society, but it has to begin on the quantum level within every single one of us. So we have to allow this healing. We have to allow this cleanse. This Pisces season hasn't been very easy. I know it hasn't been easy for me, right? Like I've had multiple breakdowns. I had several just crazy waves of anxiety where I'm just like, how in the world am I going to make it through this? I've been wondering if I'm just going to collapse and pass out. But really, radical trust. Like I'm really want to nail that home in this video. Radical trust. Radical trust that this will all work out. And you just have to do your little part. Just show up. This is like a movie. I mean, in many ways, I like to think of Pisces as like Pisces people, like people who have their sun in Pisces. I literally like to think of you guys as people who are like watching a movie. Like you're in the theater eating popcorn, watching a movie. And it's like you're living life, but you're simultaneously like watching it because it's a movie. It's like you're in it, but you're not at the same time. Whereas, Aries is like in the movie, like itself, and Leo is like the star of the movie. Pisces is like in the movie, but you're like eating popcorn. You actually will like get up and go to the bathroom and come back. Like some of the other signs don't necessarily have that luxury, but Pisces can kind of do that. But the beautiful thing is that if we really allow ourselves, like I said, we really can allow ourselves to be just healed in such a great way. And Thursday is a very beautiful, magical day. On Friday, we have Mercury in Aries trining the North Node in Leo at 14 degrees. This is huge because now that we have Mercury and Venus in Aries, it's like we are communicating to ourselves like, okay, I want to act on this. I want to do that. I want to be this way. I want to express myself this way. I want to behave this way. And Venus is going to attract these things into our life that we want. But our ego is having to go through this recalibration so it can be more in line with, the divine, more aligned with our soul's purpose. So you might be feeling a little bit of uncomfortableness because it's like things that worked in the past to, I guess, and you can't really ever satisfy the ego, right? But things in the past that kind of almost came close to quenching the ego, they're not going to work the way that they used to. So with Mercury in Aries trining the North Node in Leo, it's really asking us like, hey, come into your heart space. What does your heart want? Okay? And then we really have to learn how to communicate, because when Mercury in Aries is blunt, is to the point, it's going to tell you how it is, and it doesn't mind stepping on a few toes on the way there. And mainly, it's not necessarily because Aries is being the total badass that it is. It's just that Aries is very passionate about what it wants to do. It's very passionate, but at the same time, it can be very blunt, straightforward, and it can step on some toes. And since the sun is in Pisces, we all are very, very sensitive right now. So with Mercury making this trine over to the North Node, it's reminding us, hey, remember your heart. Hey, remember to follow your heart. I know that's cliche. I know that is so freaking cliche. Follow your heart. Follow your joy. Follow your happiness. But this is what we need to communicate to ourselves. This is what we need to communicate to each other. To follow our heart, to follow our joy, to follow our passions, to follow our hearts. And this is really what Friday is all about. And then, of course, we have Saturday, the big day. So I'm probably going to make a video just for the new moon. We have a new moon in Pisces at 26 degrees. And this is huge. If you did not already check out my full moon in Virgo video, make sure you check that out, because what I did is I talked about the full moon in the 2 weeks leading up to it and just how profound this is, how we're pretty much opening up a doorway to the new reality. So now that this is apexing on the time of the new moon is a time of laying seeds. It's the new foundation. It's when the moon appears dark and then it begins to become illuminated again. So with it being in Pisces, we are all laying the seeds seeds for this new spiritual foundation that's going to allow us to live every day in spiritual integrity if we really allow ourselves to have that healing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful, but we really have to be open to receiving, right? It's at 26 degrees, 2 meaning I feel, 6 meaning I receive, right? So we have to feel into our heart, feel into how we want to receive these messages and this guidance from spirit. We really have to feel into it. We can't just think our way through things. We can't just logic our way through this, right? There's a place and time for logic, right? You can't ride your bike indoors when you're playing Pokemon, right? Professor Oak is like, there's a time and place for that. That's what this is. There's a time and place for logic and all that stuff. But right now, this is about feeling into the divine, feeling into spirit, feeling into our soul, feeling into our hearts, and to receive those messages. Netting into an 8, which means I decide. So we're all going to make a major decision on the moon, the seed that we plant. And Mars is going to enter Capricorn also this day. This is also just magical. I don't even know what else I'm trying to say, but this is so magical because Mars, and it likes to be in Sagittarius. It's a fire sign, right? So when it goes into Capricorn, it likes Capricorn, but it has to go through a process. Whereas with Sagittarius, it can just go off on a random adventure and have the time of its life and get all the information that it needs. But when it enters into Capricorn, it's like, okay, well, first you got to get your passport. Then you got to do this. Then you got to buy the ticket. Then you got to do this. It's like, yeah, to plan it out. And that's really what this is about, is that we can't just jump right into this thing. We have to feel through it, but we also have to take purposeful action. And that's really what this is about. Mars entering into Capricorn, with Saturn being here, is that, okay, we have to make some hard decisions and stuff like that. We have to still move forward, though. So how can we move forward? And you also have to remember that Pluto is here. So even the way that we make decisions is transforming. Even the way that we organize our day-to-day reality and our society is being shifted right now. It's shifting on the inside, and it's going to begin to reflect on the exterior. So with Mars moving into Capricorn, we're really going to be asking ourselves, okay, how can I take purposeful action step by step, because that's what Capricorn is, it's step by step. How can I take purposeful action that is in line with my deeper soul's calling so I can remain in spiritual integrity and grow this seed that I just planted and have the radical trust that whatever I planted is going to grow. Perfect example of radical trust. We are planting some flowers right now, and we're growing some flowers right now. We have like 8 different pots, right? And some of the flowers began to sprout more than the others, as far as the leaves coming up, the little saplings. Some of them take a little bit of time, but it's incredible how much you appreciate that growth after you've just kind of been waiting and waiting. It's like, oh, this one, we have 2 pods that have quite a lot of growth in them, but then most of the other pods don't have as much growth. But then there is even a few that have just the slightest amount of growth. And it's that slight amount of growth that is some of the most profound growth there is. You might be a late bloomer. I know I'm a late bloomer, and that is okay, so long as you take the steps that you need to take to make it to wherever that you want to make it to. And know that once you make it there, there's another hill to climb, because I guarantee you, Capricorn represents kind of that mountain that we climb. It's the goat, right? It's the goat that rose from the seas and climbed the mountain. You can become complacent if you want and stay on top of that mountain and be like, no, I already climbed this mountain. I don't want to go climb any others. Well, here's the thing about mountains that you climb. If you try and stay on that mountain for too long, it begins to turn into mud and you slide down. That's the universe bringing you back down. That's the universe humbling you. That's God, that's Source, telling you you have a bigger calling. You have a greater calling. You have greater mountains to climb and to conquer, and to enjoy the view on the way up. We have to enjoy the journey of climbing. Okay, so with Mars moving into Capricorn, we're going to start taking actions so we may climb this beautiful mountain, right? And then on Sunday at apexes, we have the Venus trining the North Node, so catching up to Mercury. So it's like now that we're communicating with our hearts as far as how are we going to revamp our behavior to attract the things that we really want to attract. Venus moving and contrining the North Node is actually going to begin to spark off this attraction. And the Sun conjuncting Chiron at 28 degrees means that we are officially opening the door into the new reality. That is your reading for this week. I hope you all enjoyed it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw cards for each of the 12 signs for this week of radical trust. It's a week of great healing, of profound healing, but like I said, it is a week of radical trust. Okay, so like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw cards for each of the signs, and then I will draw an overall card. And the overall card actually already came up. It's adventure. You can have the adventure of a lifetime. You can have an adventure that is beyond your wildest dreams. Young one, beautiful one, my brothers and sisters, the adventure is waiting. The adventure is here. You are the adventure. But allow yourself to be guided. Allow yourself to be healed. I promise you, you will not regret it. All right. So let's see what is in store. Aries, we have completion. This is, you're going to be feeling a sense of completion. A sense of completion in the fact that you now have acquired everything that you need to know at this time. And you don't know everything, because none of us do. But you've acquired everything that you need to know at this point to take the action that you need to take. The purposeful action towards your destiny, towards your soul's calling. You're going to be feeling more complete. And it's funny because Aries, you don't really mind jumping in without having all the details, without having all the facts. But lately, you've been wanting more of the facts. You've been wanting more of the details. But now you're going to reach that level of completion that is required for you to move forward. All right. Taurus, we have traveling or the Eight of Rods in reverse. So Taurus, what I see this as, I see this as many ways as you having this desire to kind of venture from your homestead. You know, Taurus they like their home. They like their, where they kind of lay their roots down. And Taurus, they're not necessarily the most apt to travel. But I have this feeling in this sense that you've been wanting to do some more lately. You've been wanting to more come outside of your bubble and kind of express the value and the self-worth that you feel. But you're kind of worried about what other people might think. But I'm telling you right now is that this traveling that you're doing, you have to go on an inner journey before you go on that external journey. So this week you're going on an inner journey of healing, of great healing, realizing your self-worth, and you're going to bring that value to the world. And then you're probably are going to sometime this year go on some incredible adventure, some amazing trip. Gemini, we actually have your card, the Lover's reverse. And this is interesting because this can mean that there might be some type of imbalance in a relationship that you have. More than likely, this is the relationship with yourself. But since you are a mirror, you literally do mirror everyone around you, Gemini. You are the twin. So in order for you to have a more balanced relationship with other people around you, you have to have that balanced relationship within yourself. That's how you turn this card right side up. And then once you turn this card right side up, once you acknowledge your inner child, once you allow yourself to be healed this week, you will be able to establish deeper, more profound and intimate connections with those around you. And love, exciting and new, will be in the air. Whether you maybe have a new partner or you just might feel renewed, that's what it'll be. Cancer, wow, we have playfulness. This is great. Cancer is, it's one of those signs, and as a water sign, I do kind of feel for Cancer. I do have it as my 8th house. And Cancers, they just really want everyone to get along. They want to be compassionate. It's that divine mother energy. And the divine mother energy, the divine feminine energy has been working so hard this year, and it's going to continue to work hard this year to really wake up everyone. But this card is beautiful because it's asking you, Cancer, to play. It's asking you to like, yeah, you do care about the world and you do care about other people, but it's asking you that you really need to create this space that is playful, right? You want to have, like, Cancer, since you're the divine mom, like, get some new toys, right? Buy some new toys for your kids. Buy some, like, I don't know, get some cool stuffed animals, get some freaking toy planes, some trains, be playful, go outside, take people to the park, freaking, I don't know, I don't care if you are a grown adult, get on that freaking slide that you can barely fit down and just play. You want to get into the vibration of joyful playfulness, because it's really in this space that you're really going to be able to connect with yourself and other people, and it's going to be the way that you heal, because you've taken the healing. Actually, lately, Cancer, you've been taking the healing of the world so serious, and we really appreciate you that. We really appreciate you for that, Cancer. But this week, especially, remember to play. Remember to not take things so seriously. And remember that you can heal and that you will heal. Okay? Leo, we have fighting in reverse. This is actually the Knight of Pentacles as well. So this is interesting because with it being fighting in reverse, what I sense is that you're going to bring about an end to some inner fighting within your heart. You're going to bring about this end, and this is going to allow you to really begin to express yourself. It's going to allow you to really begin to show just how passionate you are, and you're going to start roaring again, Leo. You're really going to reinvent yourself. With it being reversed, I almost see this as you just taking off all of this armor, and if people try to attack you, their attacks are just going to bounce off of you, or you're going to be like Neo and you're just going to stop bullets. You don't need the armor anymore, Leo. You are the sun. You radiate love naturally. You are that. You are the expression of that, incarnate. So there's no need for the fighting. There's no need for, and other people, if they don't understand your energy and they don't understand the diva that is you and your light, please, Leo, do not dim your light. Virgo, we have friendliness. A lot of the cards are reversed, but reverse isn't bad because really a reverse card, you can always bring it, right side up. With it being reversed, it's being the Two of Cups. So Virgo, you're wanting to be friendly with people and maybe kind of soften up a little bit. What's happening this week is that, you're a very analytical sign and you are pretty quick to tell people that's not the right way to do it. Try this instead. You really want people to kind of get all their, their ducks in a row. But this week is asking you to be a little bit softer, to not be so analytical, to not be so logical. Because once you allow yourself to be a little bit friendlier, once you allow yourself to be a little more compassionate, Virgo, you're going to really open up a profound door and really have some deep, profound spiritual healing this week, Virgo. Libra, we have the card of the Star. We have silence. This is about seriously like reconnecting to your stars. You are a star, Libra, and a lot of times, you are the sign of relationships. So a lot of times you have a tendency to live vicariously through other people. But this card is ruled by Aquarius, so this is really asking you to, yes, it's okay to do things for other people, to help other people, but you don't necessarily want to live vicariously through them. Aquarius is the sign of service, but Aquarius is also the rebel, and it's innovative, and it's going to be its unique self. So this card is asking you, this week is asking you, Libra, to be your unique self. You are the scales, right? So you do just want balance and harmony, but you can only have balance and harmony once you have balance and harmony within yourself. So this week, it's asking you to just trust your inner guidance, to take some time to silence, just grab a cup of tea and just go out and look at the stars and don't say much. Just allow them to speak to you. Okay? Scorpio, Scorpio, we have inner voice. A beautiful card. Scorpio. Well, Jupiter is retrograde in our sign after all. So in many ways, we are definitely feeling a lot of the profound treasures that we're unearthing. And while we are not afraid to go into the dark, sometimes we are afraid to listen to our inner voice. Sometimes we like to hide things from ourselves. Sometimes we like to make things mysterious for ourselves, but it's really hard for us to bullshit ourselves. So Scorpio, listen to your inner voice. Listen to that inner guidance and just allow yourself to go with the flow this week. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, we have the Two of Swords or schizophrenia. I see this as being caught between two beliefs, the old belief and the new belief, and you don't really know which way to go. You have to, not unfortunately, but you have to let go of both of these at the same time. The reason why is because you are being shifted on a very profound level, on a very deep spiritual level. You're learning how to have faith again, how to have trust. So even if you find a new belief that is more aligned with your higher self and your higher purpose, don't necessarily just attach so heavily onto the belief, but just trust. Let go of both sides at the same time and fly. Radical trust, baby. Radical trust. Capricorn. Look at that! We have the card of trust. So you see how amazing this and beautiful this is. Capricorn, you're going to have an amazing download on what actions to take, and you're going to begin to build the foundations to shift the way our society looks. But in order for us to do this, in order for us to jump into this future, because it is a collective thing, because Capricorn, in many ways, it does rule society and politics and order. But in order for us to create that harmonious society that we all want on a deep, profound spiritual level, we have to have radical trust. And it's going to happen with the Cappies. The Cappies are going to get some amazing divine download, but it's going to require them to kind of dive into themselves and to trust that's going to be okay. So the sign of control has to relinquish control. That's beautiful. Aquarius. Aquarius, we have success. So the Six of Rods. So you might be feeling unsuccessful. You might be feeling that, dang, when all those energies were in Aquarius, people didn't really get the innovative, revolutionary stuff. I was trying to break the mold here, and no one was trying to see the amazing successes that I had in my mind about this, that I had in my heart about this. Where is it being shown up? Keep moving forward, Aquarius, because you are going to change the world. This is the age of Aquarius, and you have beautiful, innovative energy to bring to this world. So the party is not over, Aquarius. Please don't get on the rocket ship and leave just yet. Or if you do, take me with you. But please do not stay out there for such a long time. We need you, Aquarius. And please, the party has just freaking begun. And Pisces, for you, we have the Ten of Swords in reverse, or rebirth. And the Ten of Swords is not the easiest card because it usually means it's bringing about an abrupt end. With it being reversed, it's like a very sudden, abrupt end that we didn't really realize. This is going to be very subtle. Since it's happening in Pisces, it's really the way that you act. Your behavior is changing because it has to be more aligned with this deeper spiritual purpose, these deeper spiritual gifts that you just have, Pisces. You could walk into a room and just magically just change things. Like, you'll walk into a room and just fairies will just start popping up out of nowhere because they're like, ooh, a Pisces is here. I have a portal, so I can actually just I can just pop right into the room, right? That's really what your energy is about. You can do that. But with this new moon that's happening, you really are being reborn. You are being rebirthed. No longer are you just going to be wandering the desert like a camel, complacent and stuff. And the camel, it's a beautiful animal too. And it's amazing how it's able to wander the desert for such long periods without water, but we still do need water. And then you have the lion, which is like, we call it the king of the jungle, despite the fact that it doesn't live in the jungle. But we call it the king of the jungle is the reason why, you know, it's in many ways one of our mascots for animals in general. And when we think of animals, the lion's kind of one of those animals. It's like, you know, whenever you find like one of those like kid books that has like, what's this animal and what's that animal? The lion usually has a page to itself. But we still have this inner child. And right now, Pisces, the universe wants you to have more compassion and listen to your inner child because you are being reborn anew. All of us are, but you especially, Pisces, with this new moon that's happening, you're going to make a decision. You're going to act, and I really hope you begin to play your music like the child in this card. You are playing your music, but I really hope you begin to play that music to the best of your ability, the way that you know how, Pisces. All right, that is your reading. That is your astrological forecast for this week, the 12th through the 18th of March of 2018. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you do, please like, share, and subscribe. I am really excited to be bringing other stuff. I apologize last week. I didn't make any videos towards the end of the week. I was going through some of my own personal stuff and having to do some clearing out and stuff. And these things happen. I go through times where I feel like I have to clear energies and I receive these downloads and I can't just blurt things out immediately. I can't just speak on them immediately. I have to just allow them to kind of integrate and then learn about them, have a dream about them, and then move forward. So that's really what the end of last week was about. But like I said, I hope that this astrological reading helps you in any way. I hope that you embrace radical trust this week. And of course, remember to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.
Please try to understand that I'm only human. I may make mistakes at times, but I'm only human. I may hurt people, but still I'm only human. I may get depressed at times, but I'm only human. I refuse to believe that I'm just only human. I'm a product of God, you know I'm more than human. I can overcome anything cause I'm more than human. My objective is changing lives cause I'm more than human. I'm more than human.